All right, let's take a look at the van, the adventure van, and kind of do a walk around of this van. Hopefully I can cover everything here. I may forget some stuff because there's so much stuff that's been done to this van, but let's just start with a quick look around the van and what she looks like sitting here. This is the van. All right, so it's 2000. And this Express van, so Chevy Express, year 2000, got the limited SE Explorer conversion done to it when it was new. And what that does for you, that adds a few things. So they added a leather interior with the captain's chairs, and you get the captain's chairs here. These have all been completely redone so that they look new, just like they did when they came from the factory. You also got different door panels with the limited on it. You got covers for all the door pieces here, little pockets in the doors, or you can keep maps and things like that in there. And things like the wood grained look that all came with that Explorer version. You've got this new panel on top that gives you, I'll just go over that when we get inside, but that gives you some lights and things for the inside. It came with captain chairs in the back for another row, and then a third row bench seat that folded down with electronic. And that's how the Explorer version came. It gave you a high top so that you can, if you're under 6 foot tall, you could stand up inside. And that's how it came. What has been done to this van, there's some obvious things. That was the most obvious. The second is this, it looks like it's lifted, right? So it's got a four-wheel drive conversion on it. And this four-wheel drive conversion, when this van had just over 100,000 miles on it, the chassis, or the entire van, was taken off of the frame, and the running gear was taken off. They bought, this is done in Colorado, and a 1-ton Chevy 4x4 chassis, so that's the frame and all the running gear, and the van was put on top of that, and that gives you the 1-ton axles front and rear, gives you the 1-ton brake front and rear. But let's talk about the front end here really quick, and if we go down here, we'll see we've got a straight axle. And get a little closer there. So you've got the straight axle. That is actually out of a Ford F-250. So the reason for that Ford F-250 front end is that you have a solid front axle, locking hubs, and a lot more robust heavy-duty front end. The Chevy front ends have some weak points, so Ford heavy-duty front end. And along with that, when this was all done, the chassis was off. I put in a new motor, so there was a motor put in. Has approximately 50,000 miles on it. And so then we got a new chassis, new front end, new drive shafts, new gears, all set and ready to go. I'll put some details in the listing on that one, so you can take a look at that. There's a lot of information to go over there, so I'll just kind of cover that. All right, so we've got that four-wheel drive system, locking hubs in the front, and then the new wheels here. These wheels are super cool. They're the Pro Comps, look really nice. What else do we got? We have sort of all at the same time, these things were done with this conversion, because you've got the wheels, you've got the front end, the 1-ton chassis, heavy duty axles, you've got the brakes, all of that, all upgraded with the wheels, and then these running boards here, which are steel. We've got both sides, and on the front of the van, we also have a brush guard with fog lights. So that was the major upgrade. Let's take a look inside just for a second so I can show you where the four-wheel drive shifting is. We're going to come in here, and if we look straight down, and then you've got your shifter for four-wheel drive. You've got 4 high and 4 low and neutral, just as a normal four-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive, but four-wheel drive. So very heavy duty. Let's see, what else do we got? So that's kind of the major thing for the four-wheel drive piece of this. So about 50,000 miles on the running gear, the engine, and the van being done as it is. About 180,000 miles on the van itself, so the body. The motor, though new at 50,000 miles, we need to do, so we did a full tune-up on that. So that's cap, rotor, wires, spark plugs, belts. We go through all the brake fluids, drained and replaced. The power steering fluids drained and replaced. And what else? Brakes, new brakes, front and rear. And then going from there, we've got an exhaust system done on this. It sounds really good, healthy exhaust, not super loud. Actually, going down the freeway, you don't hear it. When you get on the gas, you can kind of hear it rumbles. It's really nice. Exhaust tips on both sides. Then we get into sort of the next step of this conversion. That's making this more of a expedition van or overland van, so that you can sleep in it, you can cook in it, you can have a potty in it, all of that. So the first part of this, which is maybe the most obvious part, is this top piece. It's painted with a rhino liner, like a bed liner, so it's a lot more heavy duty. If you hit trees or anything like that, you're not going to scratch the top. And then you'll see this awning. This is an 8-foot awning. It's by ARB. That pulls out 8 feet this direction, and it's 8 feet long. Along with the ARB awning, there is an ARB awning tent. That is stored back in here. We'll go over the rest of this here in a minute, but that's the ARB awning tent, and it just basically slides into this channel. If I go right up here, there's a channel right there. It slides into the channel all along here, and then it snaps in. There's these big clips. It snaps into the poles here, drops down, and you've got a tent. You'll see some pictures in the video of this. And I think I've got 10 videos out in this van. So one covers the awning, one covers painting the top. Then we go into solar panels. So let's talk about solar panels really quick. We've got Renogy solar panels. There's both 100-watt solar panels, one on one side, one on the other. They have sort of the flush mount kit. If you can see that there, kind of hard to see, but and they are mounted there, and then the mounts are painted the same rhino liner as the top, just to make it match and be very, very sturdy. So those are going nowhere. That system is, so you've got 200 watts of solar panel power coming in, and then you have this Rover Renogy solar power controller, and that is going to go into a very large fuse that can go at either 100 watts or 200 watts, amps. What am I saying? Amps, watts. And then that also goes into, if you look over on the side there, that is our 12-volt fuse box, and all the 12 volts going to go out of there. And then this right here, this stub, everything's, all the negatives stub to this, and what that does is it monitors all the power usage. So we're using lithium-ion batteries in this battery pack here. That's a 100 amp hour battery pack, and if you run all of the power, negative leads through this stub here, then I've got a system inside that monitors all the usage, so you know just how much power usage and power you have left in the batteries. With lithium ions, you know, they run it at the same voltage the whole time, so you don't really know from voltage drop, because it goes for 100 amp hours and then drops to almost nothing. So this will tell you just how many hours you have left. Just above that, we have a pure sine wave inverter. The pure sine wave gives you this better power than you would have in your house, so you won't have all your electronics, sensitive electronics, could be run off of that. That is 1500 watt constant draw and 3000 watt peak. And so you can run things like what I run. You can run I run an espresso machine because I want my coffee in the morning, and lots and lots of things to charge batteries, you know, charge your laptop, charge your phones, all of that kind of stuff, and a large refrigerator. We'll show you that in a moment. Using this solar power system, I've never run the power down past from 80% full. So I've only used 20% of that power in a day's time. I've never been able to use more than that. Even on sort of cloudy days, park under the trees, it seems to just last forever. So the solar panels definitely keep up with the 200 watt solar panels, keeping up with 100 watt 100 amp hour battery. All right, let's go. Let's see here. So we'll go, I think, what is next? I think next would be to talk about inside the van, and we'll go in here. We'll open up these. Let's talk really quick. If you go inside the van, these shades are awesome. So the shades go just up like that, and it blocks out anybody from looking in and blocks out most of the lights, so you can sleep in late if you want to. All of the material in the van has been done with a soundproof material. It's called an acoustic fabric. A little bit more expensive to buy the acoustic fabric, but it is all this sound deadening quality, so you don't get any echoes in the van. Any sounds in the van are minimized, and when you're camping, it's just so much quieter. I'm talking about sort of that insulation factor. The van originally came with insulation in all the walls, and then the floor is 3/4 of an inch of it goes from half to 3/4 because there's a variable in the floor that's sort of like all the floors of the vans have sort of this ridge system, and so it goes in and out of the ridge system and makes it flat. And then a new subfloor on top of that, and then on the floor it has this rubberized coating that kind of looks like a step plate, and that's rubberized. Really nice to have that, and it keeps the sound down as well. Right next to that, we've got the 47-liter refrigerator. I kept this running for 3 weeks, 24 hours a day at 39 degrees, and it kept everything cold in it and never ran the battery down at all. It's an awesome refrigerator. It is only a refrigerator, not a freezer, and it is a top-loading refrigerator. The reasons for that is that when you open a top-loading refrigerator, you don't let all the cold air out the side. So the bottom ones, all the air comes out, you got to reheat it or recool it, sorry. And these are much more efficient, and this is Iceco's 47-liter refrigerator. You can set the temperature. You can also set the battery protection so that you can set it high, medium, low. And what that does is we'll only let the batteries go down to a certain level. You can just keep it at low or high. It just doesn't matter because the batteries are never going to run that low, I don't think. You can also control the temperature and then the power consumption. So if you want it to run max, it'll cool things down a lot faster. At minimum, it just maintains that temperature. For my purposes, I never noticed the difference because I just put cold things in it. Let's move on from there. We have part of this build from original has all the lights, stereo system built into it, and cupboards all along the top. And I store things like coffee mugs, things like that up in here. You can put whatever. In the front, I decided to pull they had a TV set in here, and instead of having the TV, I put this net system in, so you can put things in here but still see them. So if you're throwing jackets and things like that, that's a good place for your storage of those miscellaneous items that are, that would rarely just be sitting out on a counter. So you can just shove them up there and put, pillows, or, if you've got a comforter laying out, something like that. I don't know, whatever. It's a pretty big storage spot. Next to that, we've got storage here. This one also has a power source in it, and we use that power source to run the lights in the awning because the awning has lights built into it, LED lights. This one on this side also has a power source in it and a light, and you can run other things like that, charge things on it. It's the same type of adapter that would be like a cigarette lighter adapter type of connection. As we move into different connections on this, we have 6 USB charging ports. And if we look up front here, I open this up. It has this little charging port here, and you can turn them on or off. And that is for charging phones, things like that. That one's really close to the the driver and passenger, and then there is one back on this side, and then one back on that side. Actually, there's two in each one. That's why I'm saying 6. This unit right here, if we look straight forward here, this will show you this van's been parked in this garage for 3 days in my shop, and it's still at 90%, which is pretty awesome. So the power just seems to be, you know, really works well. All right, on to the kitchen. So everything in this van has been purposely set at a low level so that you have a 360-degree view around you when you're parked somewhere. So one of my concerns when building a van like this is that once you park somewhere, you can't see anything because you've got cabinets built up the side. And most of these van builds have cabinets up all the windows, and they block all the windows. And you'll have like one window that you can look out. I wanted to make sure that all the windows are completely open. And then you've got the shades that you can pull down on all windows. So if you don't want the view here, you can go ahead and shut it down. But in most places you're going to go to, you're going to want to be able to see out all these windows, and you get some beautiful views. Each window has a vent, and so you can open that up for some airflow. We get into the kitchen. The kitchen has quite a large counter here, counter space. On both sides of the counter, if I go back in here, you'll see there's a 110 outlet there. And we come back around here, we've got another 110 outlet here. I usually plug in my espresso machine on this side and leave this one open for anything else, you know, toaster, microwave, anything you wanted to do. And then here's the sink. And the sink has fresh water and a stove. And so this is a propane stove, and you can run the propane on the small bottles, or it has a converter on it, so you can do a large bottle and enough cable, enough tube, whatever it is, to run it outside the van, and you can connect it to a large propane tank if you want to. Otherwise, you just use the small ones, and they're really easy just to sit under the sink. You've got 5 gallons of fresh water. You've got 5 gallons of gray water that you can hold. And then we've got 2, well, let's see, we'll go onto the table here. This table, which is made for boats, and so it's a really high quality table. It's made for yachts and things like that. And what it does is it can adjust. I've got an adjuster here, so I can adjust that one. If I loosen that up, then I can move this table. I'll just loosen it up, move the table from side to side. All right, and if I adjust here, I'll just keep that loose, and then there's one underneath here. If I adjust that, now what I can do is I can adjust the table this way or that way and move it wherever I want it. It's kind of a nice setup to just be able to rotate that table and put it wherever you want it. And also with this adjustment down here, you can loosen that one and raise it up or down, or just take it completely out. All right. Then we have the bench system, and if I go to this side of the bench system here, and I'll pull this out. I made these lids so they come out completely, and then you have these tabs to hold them in place. I wanted to be able to remove them so that you could actually have full access to the storage here. Larger storage on this side, a little bit smaller on that side, just because you've got a wheel well right there. And these are completely sealed on this side. And then we move to the other side, and on this side we have, you'll see this small opening right here, and it's curved down like that. And what that's, so there's storage on this side, and then on this side is for the porta potty, and you can utilize the porta potty in place. So you take the lid out and then utilize, I don't have the porta potty in there right now, but I'll show you that in a moment. And then you pull this out and you can utilize the porta potty right here in place, or you can take it out and move it into the tent or elsewhere. And it's a cassette type porta potty, so it can be you can dispose of that material in a restroom, anywhere you need to. That also comes with the van. Let's see, what else do we have? And we have the whole bed system. Now, the slide out bed system, I'm going to show you here in a moment, so stay tuned. Okay, so taking a look at this bed system, the way I have it set up right now, and you could cover this, you could be strapped down more, but I just kind of thought it was the easiest just to fold it back. This is a very nice memory foam mattress, and in its folded back position, it takes up 3 feet of the van, which is not much space. And then underneath it you have storage. So leaving it like this, you can set your pillows all the way up in the back. You can set, you know, a comforter or something over it just to make it look nicer if you like to, but this is the way I thought it was most convenient to do it. Now let me show you how that bed system slides out, and we'll get right to that right now. So I have straps holding it down, and let's see if we can do this. So basically just need to disconnect the straps. I set the 2 top straps back, and then this is going to pull forward. This is the slide out system, so we just slide the bed out and it sets down, and then the mattress pulls forward. And with the mattress pulled forward, we have the bed system, and it is oh so comfortable. It is this memory foam, which is just so nice. And it's so nice to lay here in this bed, and you've got, if you just kind of look at the views around, yeah, I know it's not the greatest view because we're in a parking lot, but if you can imagine, and I've got some videos of this, where you're hanging out in the woods and just enjoying the view. We're out on the coast, and you can just look out everywhere. And if you don't feel like it, you can just grab the shades and pull those down, and that gives you the privacy you might want. And that, there's also shades in the back as well. And if you look down on the sides, here we go. These are the USB ports for the back, because I figured you might want a reading light or charge your phone while you're sleeping. And that gives you that. There's one on this side as well. You pull that, and then you can just turn them off by touching them. And that, my friends, is the van. I love it. It's been so awesome. See, now that I put the bed back, I kind of wanted to point out some things that were important to me on this van as far as building it for safety. And that was why I've used straps here instead of maybe just cutting this in half and just letting it sit here. Is that, let's just say, unfortunately, let's say you got in an accident or something and this were loose, this could fly forward and hit the occupants in the van, and I didn't want that to happen. And so having straps will hold this in place. These straps are good enough to like hold motorcycles and things like that down, so it's very strong. It holds the top part of the bed system in place so that it won't slide forward, and it keeps the mattress in place in case there was some, you know, some problem. It's a 4-wheel drive van as well. So having a 4-wheel drive van, you may be going over obstacles and you want everything to stay in its place. And that's kind of why the whole system was built to keep things in place. Even the refrigerator, you'll notice, has rubber mounts that mount it back down to the chassis of the van so that it doesn't move out of place. And that's kind of been the, you know, all the cabinets are bolted down in multiple locations. All overkill, so it's not going anywhere. All the countertops are bolted in place. Everything to keep it in place and keep it bolted down. I went even as far as this has, the stereo system has a subwoofer in it, and if you look, that's this box right here. That subwoofer is bolted in place as well so that it can't move. I mean, I know it can't get out of here, but it should be bolted down. Everything should be bolted down and put in place. So that's what I've done, and it keeps everything everything put where it should be put, and as well as like all the storage, so you've got storage that keeps things in place as well. That is the van. I hope you like it. I love this van. It's just unbelievable. It's so nice to drive. Taking it up in the mountains, I guess I would mention that, you know, I've kind of gone through, we put 2,000 miles on the van to make sure that, you know, things like it doesn't use oil. I wanted to make sure of that. So after the oil change, I figured let's go out and drive it for a couple thousand miles. If it's gonna use oil, it would use oil then. We ran it down, you know, Highway 5. We ran it up into the mountains, back down. You know, we did Kings Canyon, and we went back down to basically sea level, back up into the Sierras again, went out to the beach. Just kind of run it through its paces, make sure everything's working properly, and it sure is. So there's some other things that I've done just to make sure, like this grill, I've pulled the grill off and then repainted all the black pieces so that they would be nice and new. The headlights were replaced just because they get yellowed after time, so I thought it'd be nice to have the new headlights. Just make everything look nice and look good. I love the van. It's awesome. We're moving on to doing, I mean, it would be, my wife and I have talked about keeping this. This is a project van for my shop, as we haven't been able to get motorcycles for the motorcycle shop, so we're like, well, let's build something like this van. And so that was the project to do that. We're going to move on to a boat project now, and so we'll sell the van and start working on a boat. Cheers.